The overnight session evaluations were due at midnight, and I was still hunched over my laptop in the hotel bar when Dr. Sam Whitaker slid onto the stool beside me and set down 2 cups of coffee like a peace offering. "You gave me a 6 out of 10, he said. "On the survey, I saw the aggregate. They're anonymous. They're anonymous to everyone except the person who spent 4 months on that talk and can recognize his own worst critic's handwriting style in a comment box." He nudged 1 coffee toward me. "You wrote derivative methodology in my own workshop." I wrapped my hands around the cup because it was easier than looking at him. "It was derivative. You used my lab's protocol from the poster I presented 18 months ago and didn't cite it." "I cited the original paper it came from. I wrote the original paper." That stopped him. He set his own cup down slowly, and for a second, the practiced conference smile dropped off his face entirely, replaced by something more careful. "You're Priya Adeyemi, from the Chicago cohort study." Surprise. I read that paper probably 20 times. I did not connect the name on my program to the name on the citation, and that is genuinely embarrassing. He rubbed the back of his neck. "I owe you a correction slide, and apparently an actual apology instead of coffee." "The coffee's fine. Consider it a partial payment." We'd been circling each other since Tuesday's opening reception, ever since the moderator had accidentally sat us next to each other on a panel about early career research, and we'd spent 40 minutes lobbing polite, needling questions at one another in front of 300 people, both of us grinning like it was a tennis match neither wanted to lose. Someone from my hospital had texted me afterward. "Saw you sparring with that guy from Denver. You two need a room." And I'd rolled my eyes so hard I nearly dropped my phone in the hotel lobby fountain. The truth was, I'd looked him up before the conference even started. Everyone in our subspecialty had, because he'd published 2 papers in 2 years that made the rest of us look like we were still figuring out how to hold a pipette. I'd built a whole private grudge against a man I'd never met, and it turned out he'd built one right back, because apparently my Chicago study had been the thing his department chair held up in a meeting and said, "Why can't you write like this?" "I have a confession," he said, turning the coffee cup in slow circles on the bar. "I requested this conference specifically because I saw your name on the speaker list." "To sabotage me?" "To meet the person who kept beating my citation count." He laughed at himself, a short, surprised sound. "That's humiliating to say out loud for the record. I've been rehearsing something clever for 3 days, and to meet you is what came out." I felt something shift in my chest, a small mechanical click, like a door that had been painted shut finally giving way. I recognized the feeling because I'd felt it exactly once before, with a resident during my 2nd year who I'd sworn I hated for 6 months before we started sharing granola bars during overnight call, and that had ended with 2 years together and a very complicated goodbye when he took a fellowship in another state. I told myself I wasn't doing that again. I told myself that during the entire elevator ride back up to the room floors, standing 2 feet from a man whose whole career I had memorized out of spite. "So what happens tomorrow?" I said. "When you present the corrected slide and everyone in that room realizes we've apparently been flirting through footnotes for a year and a half?" "I was hoping you'd tell me. You're the one who reads my citations more carefully than I do." The elevator doors opened on my floor before either of us said anything else, and I stood there half a second too long, badge lanyard tangled around my fingers, watching him watch me not leave. "I'm on the 11th floor for one more night," he said finally. "There's a terrible little vending machine lounge with a view of the parking structure. Very romantic. I've seen it. I was not impressed. Give it a second chance. I'll bring better coffee this time." I stepped out of the elevator laughing, and the doors closed behind me, and I stood in the empty hallway a long moment wondering whether I was about to do something genuinely reckless, building something with a man who lived 1,000 miles away, in a field small enough that we'd be reviewing each other's papers for the next 20 years whether we liked it or not, or whether some competitions are actually just the longest, slowest way 2 stubborn people have of noticing each other. I went to the vending machine lounge. He was already there, badly disguising a granola bar as a peace offering, and I thought about my old rule: Never mix the work you love with the person you can't stop watching across a room, and broke it anyway, one bad coffee at a time. The parking structure lit up orange below us like it had been waiting all week for someone to finally call it beautiful.